lives have been saved by Edward Berger? Huh? Not many. So normally I would say, you know, you would do Q&As before the awards, just because you have to earn the awards and the prize. But tonight things were a little different, so we were faithful that you would deserve this award. Obviously I don't want to go you know, through all of that has been said already, the accolades, the recognition that Conclave had, and I just want to ask, how does it feel to be back in Hollywood after, you know, last year we are a few feet away from the Dolby Theatre waiting for the big night?
Well, it's always a wonderful feeling when you make a film and then it gets recognized, you know, that people see it. You know, you never know when you make it. While we were making Conclave, we probably all thought, like, is anybody going to see this? You know, you always think it every time you make a film. And so when people do see it, and when it ends up here at this festival, and we get to talk about it, it's always a pleasant surprise.
What about you, Sergio? Rispetto a come ci si sente essere qua questa sera?
Ma sai,
dopo la vittoria di ieri.
Noi il cinema in Italia lo chiamiamo cinema, no? Qui il cinema lo chiamano industria. Questo stabilisce una visione delle cose completamente diversa. Poi io provengo da un cinema che in qualche modo ha insegnato cinema negli anni. Però qui la fascinazione è assoluta, totale. Attraversi una strada e dici, ma qui ci ha girato Tarantino, questa è una scena di un film. Quindi c'è questa specie di colosseo della celluloide, no? Rispetto alla nostra fantasia. Però il cinema europeo c'ha un peso, secondo me, anche nella loro cultura.
I'll try to do my best, I'm probably not as good. Please. So Sergio was just explaining that he's coming from a different school of cinema, a cinema that also had something to teach to other cinema in the world. The biggest difference between Italian cinema and American cinema in the perspective is that in Italy we call it cinema, here some people call it industry, and that gives a different view on things. Obviously, being here, it's incredible because you move around the city and you see so many landmarks and so many you know, signs of those fields that make the history of cinema. Okay, I have a second job, I guess. So, going back to the film, Edward, you often said that scripts have a way of finding you. They find you at the right moment. And I just want to ask you, how did the script find you? Obviously there is a novel, but did you read the book? How this idea came to reality?
In this case, it had to do a lot with Tessa Ross, the producer, and Peter Strawn, the writer. I loved both of them. I've been trying to find a project with both of them for a long time. And you know, it's so often it's the genesis of a project is you need to trust the people that you're working with. You need to love them, and Tessa you can only love, and the same as with Peter. I adore his writing. He's such a good writer. I've always wanted to work with him, and so when this opportunity came, I thought, and I read the script. I read the script before the novel. A first draft of the script, I thought, oh, this has the bones of something that could be really great. So why don't we roll up our sleeves and get to work on it and turn this hopefully into a film? Because you never know. This journey started 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago by now, I think. And in the end, you never know if a film comes out or not. You know? So, and you can, but you have the best intention to make a film that sort of that represents our time, you know, that and while you work on those films, sometimes it happens that you either fall out of love with a film, or that the script suddenly becomes irrelevant, or that, you know, I don't know, that no actor wants, Sergio doesn't say yes, you know, and then you go, then you suddenly realize, oh, you don't find Rafe, and then you realize, oh, let's maybe not do it. And so in this case, it just came together, and it kept going, kept getting more relevant, and stayed with us, so that it just, in the end, we felt like, okay, now is the right time to make it. We've got Sergio, we've got Rafe, and we've got Isabella, and then we just had this momentum to do it.
Absolutely. And what about you? How did this movie find you?
I remember the first time I met Edward. I read the script, wonderful script, and the first time we met, you remember I told you it's bizarre for an Italian actor acting in English a character like this, because the language of the Vatican is or Latin or Italian, no? And he understood immediately. He said, okay, you speak your language, no? E questo mi ha dato una libertà straordinaria, no? Per cui anche questo mischiare le lingue, che hanno un valore psicologico, perché alcune cose sono dette in latino, alcune cose in italiano e alcune cose in inglese. Ma non è casuale, non so se mi spiego, è psicologico. You look anxious. No.
I'm very interested in what you're saying.
Ich e tu. No? La vita seminata da queste cose, questo soltanto un italiano lo può fare. Queste cose piene di minareti, di cose, ma che è? Questo solo un italiano lo può fare. Ma you look anxious lo può fare anche l'inglese. Non so se mi spiego.
It is.
I forgot by now. Was that in English in the script? I think everything was in English, pretty much. Yeah. So I remember we had a read-through with all the producers and the investors and all the cast. And Sergio had changed everything to Italian. I hadn't told anyone, I think. And Rafe, because he speaks Italian, said, oh, I got to speak Italian then too. He changed everything. So suddenly half the movie was in Italian. And all the producers were like, and they came to me, I never told you, they came to me, Tessa came to me, said like, he's got to speak more English. This was like, you got to change everything to English. And I said, too late now, we're shooting tomorrow. So.
That's great. And
Questo
actually,
dà una vita, dà una verità al film, che sono straordinarie, perché non lo plastifica mai, rendo l'idea.
And in fact, this leads me back also to your character. You were mentioning that you know, you used to kind of different languages, Latin and Italian, according to the moment. Can you tell us more about the duality of your character in this sense? Because, you know, the cardinal that you're playing is obviously the villain of the film, and as much as we want to kind of, you know, root against him, in a way, I felt attracted to him as well. How did you strike that balance?
But you are always attracted, an actor is always attracted by the villain, diciamo. I disagree with all the words he says in the movie, but I think that the duty of an actor must be the best lawyer for his character. Don't touch Cardinal Tedesco,
Right.
even if I disagree with him. E quindi devi essere ancora più convinto se dici qualcosa sulla quale non sei d'accordo. Come posso dire?
Yeah, you have to be even more sure about what you're doing if you are, you know, portraying a character you don't agree with what he's saying.
Poi un po' quello che dicevo prima, c'è qualcosa di indossare quel vestito ed essere uguale, tutti uguali. Perché la cosa straordinaria è questa, che loro sono tutti vestiti uguali, no? Ma non sono uguali, no? Dentro c'è un uomo, e penso che uno dei valori più potenti del film sia quello di aver raccontato la fragilità umana di uomini della Chiesa che desiderano una donna, desiderano il potere, desiderano il denaro. È questo che è straordinario.
He's saying that what he thinks is really extraordinary about this film, its ability to tell the story of, you know, the human beings behind, you know, the cardinal dress that they're wearing, the uniform, and with all their human fragilities. And, you know, talking about these human fragilities, and, you know, going back also to what you were saying about the Pope, about his health these days, I'm also thinking, like, during his papacy, one of the things that resonated with me the most, he went, perhaps, you know, at some point over it, but he was asked once about homosexuality, and he said, who am I to judge? Who am I to say anything about this? And that was a moment in which the Pope himself showed doubt. Doubt is a central theme in this film, and I just wanted to ask you more about it. How did you want to portray this theme besides the dialogue, and how did you, you know, deal with the theme of doubt and the role of your character, which seemed to have absolutely no doubts?
No doubt.
Yes, your character doesn't hesitate about anything. He's sure about this.
Yeah, but that's the lawyer of the...
Of course.
Not the legend. No, io penso che la religione cattolica si fonda su io sono il verbo, io sono la parola, io sono la verità. Il potere della Chiesa si fonda sul segreto, che è il contrario della verità.
So that's very deep. Catholic religion is based on word, while
I am the truth.
I'm the truth, yes. While religion as an organized form of, you know, as an organized system is based on secrecy.
Yes.
And that's the
Il
difference.
potere si fonda sempre sul segreto.
Power is always based on secret. What do you have to say about this?
Well, the theme of doubt was very important in the film, especially through Rafe, yeah, who lives it, and who, you know, who has that wonderful speech about doubt and certainty that shocks everyone around him, including Tedesco, and he's and I think that was the speech that drew me and Rafe to the film, where I felt, you know, because I have it all the time with every decision. But when he says, I'm going to speak everything in Italian, do I know if this is right? No, I have a feeling that it would be good, because, I mean, logically it makes sense. But you never know if that's... So I think what I'm trying to say is we all have doubt in our jobs. And when you shoot this film in Rome, you realize, you know, you look out the window and you see a nun having a coffee downstairs, and a priest having a smoke, and an archbishop with a briefcase going, and you realize they're all just going to work. And like we go to work in the morning, and they, of course, they have iPhones and cigarettes and vapes, and they drink coffee, and they have modern espresso machines and stuff, you know. And that's the wonderful thing. And that's suddenly you make a film about humanity and human frailty, and that was interesting to us. And human frailty embraces doubt, and so that was an inherent part of the movie, and especially within Rafe's character.
Creativity embraces doubt, I believe.
Yes.
I have so many questions, because this movie resonated with me on so many levels, but I'm mindful of timings, and I don't want to keep everyone here, although I hope you're having, you know, as much fun as I am listening to what they have to say. I just maybe want to touch, you know, the topic, at least mention it, the role of women in film, especially because, you know, we have our own Isabella Rossellini, as it has been said, nominated for Best Supporting Role. Obviously, and I'm quoting here, the women are silent in the church, in the Vatican, but they are not silent in this film. They have ear and, you know, eyes, and in fact, you know, the dialogue, the speech that Isabella makes is one of the turning points of the film. I was working with Isabella, and how would you describe the role of women in this film?
Well, the role of women in the film is representative of the role of women in the Catholic Church. So, yes, Isabella phrases it and says that we're meant to be silent, but we still have, and yet we have eyes and ears, you know? So she represents that, you know, that if Rafe is not at the center of the movie, like of the proceeding, he's at the center of the movie, but not at the center of proceeding. He's like a person who's in the second or third row, trying to be not in the limelight, you know, his character. Isabella's character is supposed to be in the 20th row, you know, like in the last row, just observing things, serving the men so they can make their decision. And that's how it is in the Catholic Church, but obviously in the movie, she represents the role of femininity throughout the film, that then later, you all saw the film, comes out in different parts, and the film ends with focusing on 3 laughing nuns walking away, and Rafe smiles at, you know, he opens the window and lets the light in, and the human laughter in, and femininity in, and that, for me, that is sort of Isabella's role, that, and Carlos Diaz's role, that crack open that, the oldest patriarchy in the world, and in the end, it's a movie about, you know, the hope, the possibility of change. Things change, and they will change. They might take time in the Catholic Church, but they change everywhere, and eventually, you know, women, I'm certain, will play a bigger role in the Catholic Church as well. But it's not so much, for me, it just symbolizes, you know, it's not so much about the Catholic Church, it's about the world. It's like it's symbolized anyway. It happens to take place in the church, but it doesn't. It's not limited to it in my mind.
Absolutely, and this leads me onto the topic of how, you know, cinema can shape a different reality. How cinema can inform the world we live in, and, you know, how the influence is mutual. Would you like to say something on that, Sergio?
I want to say just a thing about the last imaging of the movie. It is amazing, because it's a movie very, very, come si dice, costruito, very built.
Very well built.
Imagine, very strong, very hierarchic, no? At the end, 3 girls that cross and ridono, sono contente.
Yeah, they're laughing and
hanno aperto una finestra.
they're free.
È un'immagine che ancora fa venire i brividi, perché sembra appartenere quasi a un altro film. Nel senso che sembrerebbe la prima scena di un film che racconta un cambiamento.
That ending scene
Questo
looks
in
like the
inglese
scene.
mi dispiace che non dirlo così bene, in italiano l'ho detto benissimo.
Yes, and it's very hard to translate because it's very poetic. But that last scene feels like the beginning of a new movie in which something has changed, and in which possibly the role of those women have changed. So this really, you know, says something beautiful about what you did with this film. And just before concluding, talking about change and symbolism, my last question would be about all the symbols that are in the film, and I would like to ask the both of you your take on just one of them that really struck me a lot, which is the turtles. I know this is a common question. So turtles can symbolize many things. They move slowly but steadily, and eventually at the end of the film they reach Cardinal Lawrence, but he decides to take them back.
Well, the turtles I saw on a tour in the Vatican, there's a fountain, and there's actually, and I think a plaque said, this is a gift from Angola, and some turtles, and they were living there, and I thought, oh, we must use that, and then I somehow thought, like, it would be a weird image to have Rafe be confronted with a turtle, and then, only then, came from the image. So sorry to be so superficial, but I came from the image, and then I started researching of what it could mean. And they mean so many things, and which I also liked, because they mean in every culture, they mean different things. And so, which I also like, because everyone can interpret for themselves. It can be, the slow but steady moving, it can be wisdom, it can be a transition, a time of transition. Turtles also represent transition in certain cultures. So, I mean, it's so open, and they're such wise, wonderful creatures. I thought if everyone takes home a different interpretation, it's a wonderful way.
So that's the beauty of art. You can interpret it in so many ways. What's your take on that?
No one can ask the church to be modern. Church can't be modern. Because the Catholic Church is not an industria. Is the, come si dice, custode?
Is the custodian, the keeper?
Is the keeper of a secret. Is the keeper of a secret that you make fede. You can't ask to the fede to change. You can't ask the come dire, le prove.
You can't ask proof.
Or you believe or you not believe. You can't ask the church to be modern. So I have a great respect about all the dialogue about the church that must be
Progressive.
That's not the vocation of the church. La Chiesa deve proteggere quel dogma, quel segreto.
Church has to protect the secret, the dogma.
Un'immagine come quella che abbiamo visto qua quando c'è stata la come si dice, la cosa di Trump, l'inaugurazione di l'arcivescovo di New York,
the Archbishop of New York,
che ha detto quella cosa cioè quell'intervento politico da noi è inimmaginabile.
That political take from the church that happened here, it wouldn't be imaginable.
Sì, lo può fare un prete di strada, ma non una figura così importante dal punto di vista politico.
Yeah, maybe some priest from a local church could comment on that, but not a high level figure.
Cioè, se fosse stato per gli italiani la rivoluzione protestante non ci sarebbe stata.
If it was for Italian priests and for Italians, you wouldn't have had Protestantism. Yeah, I don't know if I translated that correctly, what you meant, but of course it's a paradoxical thing. But with this, I would like to say thank you for your time, for this beautiful movie, for the gift that you gave us, and wish you all the best. In Italian we say in bocca al lupo. In bocca al lupo. Viva il lupo.
Viva il lupo.